Hi, in today's video I will show you how to create a stock watch list for a focused value investors. So pretty much what is the stock watch list? So as a value investors, we invest in stocks for a very long terms, right? Just like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Lilu, right? But how they come up with the list of securities which they can keep for that long, and why for that long? What's the reason for that? Because as a value investor, we know the money is not made in the short term. What about if Warren Buffett already sold let's say his Coke investments many years ago? He might got 10 or 20%, but not like a benefit from the immensely what he got from the compounding, right? So we can see in the books uh, which is written on the Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger the benefit of that. So that's not the topic of today. The topic of today is how to come up with that watch list. So now coming to that watch list, how we can make our own watch list. So first, in order to make that watch list, we need to know the list of securities of interest. So what are of those securities, right? So these are the securities basically which we think we should be going to buy, right? And this list of securities can be as many as 100 or 200 stock, doesn't matter, right? If you think you might going to buy, doesn't mean. So from the security interest, we'll go and filter those using the method which I'm going to show uh, to your final list, which is the stock watch list from 10 to 15 stocks, right? So now you might be thinking, oh, how come I can come from 100 or 200, whatever your list of securities, to 15, and why only 10 to 15? First of all, there are two reasons for that. First of all, like uh, I assume if you are watching this video, you are not a full-time professional stock picker or analyst, right? If you are, then you don't need to watch that. So you must have your job, or you must be studying, or XYZ, right? That's number one reason. Number two reason is what is mentioned by these books, which I am showing here as well. The many authors mention that the focus investments get large benefits, right? So first of all, you won't have the time if you have a very big list to see, okay, what's happening on each stocks. It's very time consuming. And second reason is, a third reason actually is also that if you invest, let's assume you have 100k portfolio, just a hypothetical, right? And you just invest 10% or 10k in one stock. If that one stock goes 10x, then it is going to be 100k, right? Look at the scale. But if you invest, if you have so many portfolio, let's say you have a portfolio of 100 stocks, right? And you just invest 100k, even if the stocks go 10k, can you, it's only be $10,000, right? Do you make that much money? No, is a little bit, it's not that and great returns, right? So the great returns only done as what Charlie Munger or Warren Buffett said in the written on the books, is when they focus on the focus investment, right? They find the value business, and then they invest heavily on that, right? But in order to do that, invest heavily, right? So we need to come up with the list. So it's also ensure that what are the sources of that list. What usually I do, and what's suggested by these books, the sources must be official, right? So for example, like say you might read that in a Barron's magazine or Bloomberg or any new financial newspaper sections, for example, or it can be on the Wall Street Journal. So these are the good sources of information, right? Not some from random, where you can know the source is legitimate, right? There are big name brand financial name behind it, good journalism behind it, right? So that usually I use personally, not only I'm saying, but I use. One of the fourth list is also I'm interested, because we are all, for sure, we are the people who are the active stock picker, or those investors. Like for example, we can see from the Warren Buffett, or Mr. Manish Pavarai, Guy Spear, right? Lilu. These are the focused value investors, right? Or Bill Ackman as well, right? I notice, and usually on every quarter I put update on their portfolio, what they are buying, what they have sold. So, or even Charlie Munger, right? So these people, they are very heavily focused on the focus investments. There are some other investor as well. For example, uh, if you go to Ridalio, for example, his book is also there. If you see his portfolios of 500 stocks, so for sure he might be seeing, but if you have 500 stock, he only invests 0.5%. So it's very hard to know that how much bet he's making on that stock, right? So maybe we don't want to select that one, but for sure, if he's making, let's say, out of 5%, 10% bet, okay, it looks like he is quite interested in that stocks, so we can put in our security of interest. This doesn't mean that we just go and buy that stock. Similarly, on the Charlie Munger, we know that he only has two securities of in his portfolio right now, SRG and Micron Technology, right? So he has a heavy bet. So this means these focus value investor are very positive on that. So we can do another check mark when we put on the security instead that these super investors are already buying this one. So this is a little bit put more weight on that stock, at least from to put in our final list, right? But I always suggest, and what I all and the books and what this investors like Mr. Buffett, Charlie Munger, right? They all, you can see their interviews and all. They all say, we also do your homework, right? Just don't blindly copy them, right? So that's it. So once we have that universe of list, now the thing is, okay, how we can do the filtering, right? So why we need to do filtering? We need to do filtering to come up with those only few specific stocks, right? Because when is the time to come, we go and buy the stocks, right? So now the thing is, okay, I'll cover what's the time and when we need to buy, but let's say, okay, focus on what's the filtering criteria. So the filtering criteria, which mostly you heard, the very first one is make sure what the Charlie Munger, especially in the book, which is on the very first, the Charlie Munger, The Complete Investors, is very clearly mentioned, and really like about that be in your circle of competence, right? Don't go outside of your circle of competence. What does it mean? It means only invest what you understand. If any technology or any other interruption maybe is doing very good, but if you don't understand, just do a pass. So for him, he usually or the Warren and Mr. Charlie Munger, he has a 3 buckets, right? So first bucket is too hard. If something is too hard, you don't understand, just circle it out, right? And then another 2 is in and out, right? In means, okay, you have selected in your final list, that's well and good. And out means you did your due diligence, which I'm going to select what are the key criteria you need to be looking, and then it doesn't pass, and then you put a reason and say, okay, this is one of the reason, I just do out, and you make it out. And believe me, this, I'm in the whole vacation or in the Christmas time or even before, I was doing this kind of practicing. So you might notice that's why I haven't put that many videos recently as well. So it really works, and I think I can relate, and hopefully you can relate that with you as well, that we need to be focused on our circle of competence. So now that's our framework, right? So we have 3 buckets. If it's too hard is easy, but now the thing is, okay, you might have filter out, and you might come up with 25 stocks, right? Now what is the selection criteria it's suggested by these focus investors, right, or the value investors? There are 4 key things need to be looked at, right? Very simple as that. So the first one is the business tenants, right? Do we understand the in and out of the whole ecosystems of the business, right? That's need to be understand, right? the first thing. If you think that any glitch is there, just it should be in the outbox. Second thing, how good is the management? Is the management is doing what they are not doing? The best thing is to look into these two section is go to and read their 10K, do the stock analysis. So that's why you might notice since the beginning of this channel, first thing what I do, I'd never go any newspaper or anything else to see what other journalists are saying. I go and read their 10Q or 10K. 10K is the annual statements and 10Q is the quarterly statements. SEC, that's directly from their mouth, right? Submitted to SEC. So I go and read there. If you go and watch my stock analysis playlist, you might see in the early, I even show highlight, okay, this is what they're saying, this is what they're saying. If you feel free to check it out. If you have never read their 10K, it clearly says their risk, it clearly says what management is saying, it's say about the strategy. Think, are they in line with that or not in line with that? The third thing, once you are comfortable, is the financial tenants. That's also like their gross profit margins and other the ratios and all. In general, where either I do the stock valuation or stock analysis, in all my playlist I do have that information as well. If you don't understand, what I also done, I have created 3 playlist based on the focus buffet style investing: the beginner, intermediate, and the advanced. In the intermediate section, I have explained how to read the income statement, balance sheets, and all the ratios and all, right? On the advanced section, it's a little bit more on the correlation and asset side, and on the beginning, it says what is CAPM and other. And I'll keep updating those and those playlists. So the investors like you guys, if you don't have that background, you can also put in the comments there, okay, I want to understand, so I'll try to make the video on that. So but that's all comes all in the financial tenants or business or management tenant sections. The last but the not least is the market tenant. Is very important, like what said Carmen, who's written the margin of safety, and Buffet, who follows the Graham and other investors, right? So according to them, the margin of safety is important. So what is this? So you buy the stocks at below their market price. So whenever in the stock valuation playlist, I usually see what's the intrinsic value of the stocks, right? And see if there is I'm getting a good discount, then only you can go and buy. So you'll get some buffer, not just follow the herd, because if you follow the herd, that might be another lecture for some other day. But that's from that. So you should have some margin of safety on that, and even on my to go and buy that. So that's the main thing. Other thing, or otherwise, if the market is down, if like last year the market was crashed 30%, that's the best time to go and buy the stocks, right? But will you able to do that? Yes, you can only be able to do if you have done your homework and take the time, at least spend 2 to 3 weeks into this analysis on each company when you're making the in and out, right? You can see my video channel, or there might be another YouTuber channel or maybe some financials. Make sure they is authenticate the person who is speaking, at least have some academic background, because this is the hard-earned money and you don't want to lose that, because this is just getting different opinion from different people to ensure you get the knowledge to make that final list. So this is the same framework usually what I also follow and do that, right? So won't make any mistakes. Now, so once you have all, then you just filter that rest 25 in and out, and hopefully you filter further 10 stocks, so at least you have 10 or 15 in your final list. So, and once there's the correct price come, you go and buy the stocks. And don't worry, even what, as according to the you're not, the mindset should be that you're not going to buy the stock for like quarter or 2 quarter. This is, so the question once asked, to Warren Buffett, and really like that quote. What the journalist asked Buffett, why you are doing so much, taking some time and buying these stocks, right? So Mr. Buffett said, I'm buying the stock like that I'm going for a holiday for at least 10 years, right? And so I don't have to worry about that. So think from that mindset perspective. And one more book, actually I really like it. That this is a change in the mindset. If you are looking for a tiger, you will always see, okay, this is a fast running tiger. But if you're looking for the giant elephant, that okay, I'm only looking for the elephant, then which can be that the elephant resembles that the market cap will go bigger and bigger and bigger in the time. So you avoid those all distraction, because your focus is, no, I want to focus on that greatest company. Even if you want to pay as the Charlie Munger, who influenced the Mr. Buffett life as well, a lot, you'd pay a little bit extra on that, doesn't matter, because in during the long term it pays much better. So that's why when the it's Mr. Buffett bought the books, so candy business, right? So he pays 3 times of the book value of that. Usually, if he follows earlier the Graham investing strategies, he always invest less than the book value. But that was a time it was influenced because of the great business, right? So that's the way, that's the framework. Usually there's an investor, the smart or super focus investor, used to go and pick and buy the stocks. Hopefully you like this, and if you like this, then give a thumbs up, and feel free to comment if you want me to cover something like these kind of videos more in the future. Bye for now, and see you soon in the next video.